Today's podcast is sponsored by Security Unlocked, a new podcast from Microsoft focusing on artificial intelligence and machine learning and security. Check out the links in the description below to learn more. All right, good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning, Corinne. How are you?
Good.
It's good to see you again.
Yes, it's only been a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so this is fun. We're here for the 1000th episode.
Oh, wait, I forgot to do something. Sorry.
All right, our first question today is from Chris Kez, and Chris asks, how the heck did they rope you into doing the podcast for them? What do you say, Corinne?
Well, I would say that I was voluntold to do this. I think a conversation with Brad, Paul, and you might have happened before it happened with me. So I think you were on board before the conversation with me. So I kind of, as I said, was voluntold. But it is a little exciting to kind of see a glimpse into what they get to do every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I was glad we have the format of the questions because I wasn't really sure how to do this if it was open-ended, you and I just talking, and we'd probably just get onto our own thing and not talk about Paul and Brad. But I also thought, it's been about 11 months and I haven't done a whole lot different stuff. So maybe it was time for me to try something a little different, even if it's just a podcast.
Yeah, definitely out of my comfort zone. While for work, I do a lot of presentations and I have a lot of Teams calls. Microsoft Teams has kind of saved my life a little bit during work from home, but this is definitely, there is a lot of light shining at my face and I have a lot of buttons that I'm responsible for. So a lot more goes into this than I probably thought.
Yep. All right. Question number 2 comes from Eisner, and it is for both of us. What piece of technology has your husband added to your life that you love the most and that you hate the most? So I will say the things I love the most are our Sonos sound system, our speakers and our turntable and our everything pertaining to music. We like to hang out in the sunroom on Friday nights usually and listen to music, and that stuff is all very, very fun. And I don't really hate any technology really, but I would say that the Philips Hue lights are sometimes overrated. Like, it's not that hard to just turn a light on and off. And if you need an app to do it, it seems like a little unnecessary.
I would definitely agree. For me, the most hated piece of technology is the fact that everything in our house runs off of Brad's cell phone. So there's often times where I can't get the lights to turn off. So I'm sending him a text message while he's in the basement to turn the lights off in the living room, and the furnace, the garage door, I mean, everything's on an app, and I don't necessarily have access to all those apps, I don't feel like, or if I do, I don't know how to use them. So that, I could live without that. The best piece of technology that he added probably would be the Tesla. So while I've only driven it twice, once with Brad, once without Brad, I do feel like it's a really cool piece of technology, and it's a little scary, which is why I don't drive it, but I do think it's pretty cool.
Why is it scary?
Well, because it's so fancy and he loves it more than me. So if I hurt it or if I do something wrong to it, he'd probably be pretty mad. So he bathes that thing all the time. I mean, it actually has not gotten a bath in a while because we've had a lot of snow here and it's not weather to really give it the proper cleaning that it needs. But I've never seen him take care of something so much in his life. I mean, even our daughter, I think that he takes care of his Tesla more than that. But no, I'm really kidding. I mean, he did love our daughter and he does love me, but I think his number one love right now is his Tesla. And I do agree because I love it too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next question comes from Tiny. Tiny asks, do either of you regularly listen to your husband's podcasts? This is an easy one for me. No, I don't. So,
Well, I would say no, that I don't either. But recently, since work from home, our basement, the studio is in our basement. And so the office art area, it's a glorified art area that I'm working in right now. And so my desk and the podcast studio are almost like sharing a wall. So I hear the banter of Paul and Brad back and forth. I don't necessarily know everything that they're saying sometimes or even listen that well, but I will say I'm a little more informed than I used to be. So only by default, though, not because I went online and listened. So.
Right. All right. This question comes from Greg Alto, and Greg asks, what is one thing we may not know about Paul and Brad? I'll let you take this one first, Corinne.
One thing we may not know about Paul and Brad. Gosh, I feel like this is such a hard question because there's so many things we could say. I think one thing that somebody doesn't know about Brad. Well, gosh. I feel like a million things could be coming to my head and I'm drawing a blank on everything. So, this is a funny question. Oh, I know. Brad and I were married in 2009. And so that was how many years ago? Was it 11, almost 12 years ago? Mm-hmm. And he just now started changing the toilet paper roll. So he just recently, just yesterday, in fact, he put the toilet paper roll on and not next to it, which is what he's done for the 16 years that we've been together. So I bet no one knows that about Brad. He also will eat all the candy in the pantry, even if it's mine or Kerrigan's. So that he has the biggest sweet tooth of anybody that I've met.
Okay.
So those are fun facts about Brad.
Right.
What about Paul?
Oh, this is a hard one for me too, because I feel like Paul lives his life online and is pretty transparent about everything he thinks and says and does. So like you, I was kind of struggling with this one. So I'm going to just pick a little random weird thing that most people probably don't know, that when we walk our dog in the morning every day, unless it's below 30 degrees, Paul will always wear shorts. And we have kind of a running joke with the neighbors because there are two neighbors who are kind of like winter long shorts wearers and everybody else makes fun of them.
It's kind of like my daughter, when we do drop off in the morning, the gym teacher always has shorts on. So we have a little running joke like, is he going to be in shorts or pants? And today he was in shorts because it's a little warmer. I don't know about you guys, but it's a little warmer here today than it has been.
Yeah, it's a little bit warmer today too. It's supposed to be warmer this week. So
Paul was definitely in shorts today.
Actually, he skipped the walk today.
Oh, he skipped the walk today. That's no good.
No.
No good.
Okay, this question comes from Wright. And Wright asks, do you sometimes feel like a Call of Duty widow? That's a funny question. I will say no, because Paul does play Call of Duty quite a bit, but he does not play Call of Duty when we should be doing something. You know, he's not like not going to eat dinner because he's playing Call of Duty, or not, staying home on the weekends because he's playing Call of Duty. He does yell at Call of Duty a lot. There's a lot of anger directed towards Call of Duty. So that is some Call of Duty related experience that I have. What about you, Corinne? Is Brad a big Call of Duty player?
So he plays every day, I think at least. He goes into the basement about like 7:30 or 8 o'clock after we've had dinner, after we've done bath and read and done all of our daughter's homework with her. And so kind of like on our own time, he goes down to the basement and plays. And I think sometimes he watches TV, documentaries, not like actual TV shows. But so I don't really notice if he's playing or not. I do hear him though sometimes through the vents. I don't know that Call of Duty is very funny, but I think the people he plays with are funny. So sometimes I can hear them laughing, but I don't feel like a Call of Duty widow because it's kind of Brad's time when he plays and he's not near me. I actually don't even know what the game looks like. So
let's see. Okay. This is like a screen name. So M. McFur, I will pronounce it. I'm not sure if that's right, but M. McFur asks, is Sonos really necessary? I mean, I like it. I enjoy listening to it. There's definitely times when we've done speaker comparisons from one type of speaker to another type. And, it's not like a huge difference, but it's a noticeable difference. And, necessary is a strong word, but it's something that I guess, if you enjoy music, it adds value.
I would agree. Oh gosh. The computer screen. Oh, there we go. The computer went to sleep. Sorry about that technical difficulty behind us. Sonos, I feel since I've known Brad, he has always been very invested in music and good sounding music and the quality. And so I don't feel that we've ever had bad speakers or a bad sound system set up in our house. And so now, gosh, I don't even know how many Sonos speakers we have in the house, but we have a sound bar on every TV, and I will tell you how much value that added when we put those on the TV. The only negative is some of them you can't tell how loud the volume is, so our daughter makes it very loud sometimes, and then on Brad's cell phone, he controls it and turns it down. That's another one of those things that are on the cell phone, but I feel like Sonos is necessary, like you said, is a strong word, but it definitely adds value and the quality is much different and it makes the music sound better.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. This is a question from Old IT Pro 2000. And Old IT Pro asks, do you ever run into a situation at home where something that was working for months or years conks out suddenly because your husband is now reconfiguring, testing, or moving some piece of tech around without warning you? All right, Corinne, you can take this one first.
I don't know if I've ever run into a situation other than when Brad works on electrical, and the lights, the power has to go out. And so he tests a lot of switches. So I don't necessarily think that is something. I guess it was something that was working because the lights were working and then he starts testing them and then they're not working. But that is just when he's doing a project. So it's not every day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I would say my big thought of when something stopped working comes to mind was when we had a lightning strike, and I can't really blame that on Paul. But for weeks, maybe a few months after we had the lightning strike, random things would just stop working or work intermittently, or parts of things would stop working. And that was kind of inconvenient and annoying, but we slowly either fixed or replaced the things that don't work, and hopefully we won't have another lightning strike anytime soon.
Yes, gosh, I hope that you don't have another lightning strike soon. That was terrible. We are now on the mid-roll sponsorship, so let me make sure I press all of these buttons correctly. Microsoft has a new security podcast called Security Unlock, where they take a closer look at the latest innovations in threat intelligence, security research, and data science, with a special focus on demystifying artificial intelligence and machine learning. I have no idea what any of that means.
It sounded great.
But it sounded great.
I would think you did this every week.
Now I know. Get Security Unlocked. It'll help you.
All right. Jamie Webster has a question for both of us. Do you both put limits on their spending?
This is a great question. And no, I don't. I feel like Brad and I are equally both fiscally responsible. There are splurges. I feel like the Tesla was a big splurge for him, so he will not be buying things for a long time. No, I'm just kidding. He can still buy things, but I don't feel that either of us buy anything large without talking to the other person. So I don't feel like we've run into a situation where one of us has purchased something very large without the others. And so no, I don't necessarily think I limit his spending, which I guess is a dangerous thing to say. And I've always wanted a Louis Vuitton purse, Brad, if you're listening to this. So feel free to gift that to me after today's podcast.
I'm guessing the Louis Vuitton purse is a little less expensive than a Tesla.
I could buy like
You could fill up
50,000
that
Louis
Tesla
Vuitton
with
purses.
Louis Vuitton purses.
Yeah.
You know?
I could buy,
All
I
right.
could have a whole room of purses if I wanted.
All right. It's a fair splurge for sure. You know? For me, I would say the same. We don't really put limits on each other's spending per se. We would, we talk about big purchases, obviously, and complain about the high cost of tuition with two kids in
Yes.
college.
Yes.
And I would also say that, obviously there's technology type things that Paul has to buy or does buy for work or for fun. But we have a lot of areas of life where we don't spend a lot of money outside of that. We stick with the same clothes for a long time. We stick with the same cars for a long time. We kind of, in the most cases, I mean, if you saw our furniture, my God, we're waiting until we are a pet-free household to replace our furniture.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, it's looking kind of, one step down from a college dorm. So,
That's funny.
All right. This question comes from Stephen Layton, and Stephen asks, when you ask for IT help from your husbands, do they ever just suggest you turn it off and turn it back on again? So I would say probably at first, but at this point, I've kind of known that this is what you should maybe try first. Turn it off, turn it back on, and it's surprising how often it works. It's actually a pretty effective strategy for solving tech problems.
I do agree. Do you ever unplug too?
Unplug,
If
yes.
it's plugged, yes.
When I unplug, I count to 10. I don't know why. I feel like it needs a break from the electricity.
Oh, you know what? I never do that. I never count to 10.
Probably doesn't do anything.
But that's a pro tip that I'll start trying. I ask Brad for technology help all the time. He kind of refers me when we used to have CDs. He used to say that I would put the CD on the shiny side down. Like that was how I view technology. And so I don't feel like I have to know a lot about technology because he does. And so I ask for help all the time. I mean, I need help almost, well, I wouldn't say on a regular, like everyday basis, but every couple of days. He also helps with, for some reason, I have the world's worst Surface. Like it's so old that I'm using for work, and that thing is on its last end. And so he helps me with that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
On my cell phone, he no longer goes on my cell phone because I have like 1,000 plus. Actually, it's probably more than that. If I open my cell phone right now to say how many unread messages I had or how many updates I had, it would probably embarrass him. So I actually have it right here. Let me see. Let me tell you. So I have 6,685 unread messages down here. And I have 2 updates, and I have 65 notifications in the one side. And that bothers Brad a lot. It does not bother me in the slightest. I also have an update on my watch that, you know what, it'll happen when it happens. So, but yeah, he gets frustrated with my lack of technology insight. Mm-hmm. So,
yep. All right. This question comes from Mad Thinus, and she asks, what about their jobs is weird to you? All right, I'll let you take this one first.
What is weird to me is that Brad went to an event with Paul and Mary Jo one time, and he came home and he told me that he signed fans' Microsoft Surfaces. And I thought that was the most, I mean, I don't think of him as like a celebrity or a star or anything, which, I mean, I don't think that he is. He has a lot of insight and knowledge, but that always gets me. When we went on vacation to Disney World, a family vacation, he had a fan meetup. I think it's interesting and not something that I necessarily would have paired with this type of work to have. I guess I just didn't think about the fan aspect of this work. And so that is always something that I find a little, not weird might not be the correct word, but surprising and a little strange.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, honestly, I have to say my answer is the same answer. Because I feel like their jobs feel solitary because they're always in their offices, even though they are, podcasting and writing and interacting with people. So it feels solitary. But then sometimes you're out in the world, like there's been meetups in New York where clearly, there's like a line of people all waiting to talk to Paul, or like a random time where we went through security on a flight, and the person who checks your ticket before you go to the security is like, "Hey, are you Paul? You're that Paul Thoron?" It's
Yes,
like,
yes, I am.
it's just weird, or unexpected, I guess is a better word for it.
And I personally don't know that I'll ever get used to that piece. We've
Hmm.
not been in a place. Actually, we were in a place. We were at a restaurant one day eating dinner as a family, and a fan came up to Brad and had a conversation, and I
Yep.
was pretty floored by that. So
Hmm. Yep.
local
Same.
local
We had the
celebrity.
exact same experience. We're just eating dinner, and someone's like, "Excuse me," you know.
Yeah, right.
And but very politely. It wasn't, it was just kind of love your stuff, wanted to say hi, shake hands, nice to see you, back to their table. Very, very respectful, but very unexpected.
Yes, ours was the same. And I don't think there was like an autograph asking or anything. It's just the same. Like, I like your work. I watch and listen and learn and those kinds of things. So,
Hmm.
but
Yep.
yes, I don't think that's ever going to not surprise me when those types of things happen.
Hmm. Um, so this question comes from Brother Nod, and Brother Nod asks, if you told your husband the next book had to be something you would buy and read, what topic would they choose? I would have to say something travel related. We're really eager to get back into traveling. We've been talking about visiting Mexico as soon as things open up a little bit. And if he was going to write a book on travel, that would be super interesting to me. And I'm sure as he was writing it, there would be a lot of fun stuff to discuss. And even all the stuff that didn't really make it into the book would be stuff we would be able to know and talk about. And um, I would read that. I would talk about that. Well, I don't know if I would buy it if Paul wrote it, but I would, I would certainly be interested in it.
That leads me to a question before this question that I'm going to ask or answer. Have you read Paul's books?
I kind of flip through some of them. I wouldn't say I like to see the pictures he includes in the screenshots if they're family photos.
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, Brad did not put any family photos in his book.
Did you read Brad's book?
Well, actually, as a surprise for this podcast, my goal was to read the book so that I could rattle off some facts. Sadly, I only got through like chapter 5, and not because the content wasn't interesting, but because life happened. And so I did read several chapters, and I learned a lot of information. I will continue to read the rest, but just to get an idea of what he did and the time that he put into it and the work, I started reading it, and to learn about Microsoft Surface, obviously. So, and that's the only book that Brad's read. So, oh, there it goes. The computer went to sleep again. I didn't. Second time that's happened. If Brad wrote another book, the only books I've currently been reading, I have not had the opportunity to leisure read in a long, long time. So I am currently reading what a 7-year-old would read with my daughter. And so right now that's currently the Heidi Heckelbeck series. And so it is just, it's not very thrilling, but there is a picture on every page. So it's very exciting. And so, if I could pick something, I think travel, like you said, would be a really awesome thing to write about. Well, sports, I don't really follow sports, but I would love for Brad to write a book about something that we could do together, like a new hobby that we could pick together, or something that we could do an adventure and then write about so that I could be part of it. When he did the Surface, obviously I didn't know that much about it, so I couldn't contribute anything. And so by
Hmm.
doing something together, I think that would make it a little bit more fun.
Hmm. You could even write the book together.
Yes, that would be a negative, but I could provide the pictures, but that's it.
All right, this is a deep question, probably the deepest one on this list, and it comes from Robert. And Robert asks, what advice would you give to the folks that follow Paul and Brad to be better people and long-term partners? Would you like to take that one first?
Well, this kind of makes me laugh because I don't have Twitter, so I don't see all the banter that Brad and Paul like go, back and forth with. And so I do see a couple of posts every once in a while that make me laugh. But I don't know that I feel like they give very solid advice sometimes.
No, it's you. It's your advice. You have to give the advice.
Oh, I have to give advice.
Yes, you have to give the advice.
Well, I would say that I hope they're diversifying the people that they are getting knowledge from and not just getting knowledge from Paul and Brad about how to be the best long-term partners. I mean, I think they're great, don't get me wrong, but again, we've been married 12 years and Brad just now learned how to put the toilet paper roll on. He eats my Reese peanut butter cups when there's only a couple left. So there are a couple of things pro tips that I feel like people can take from that to be better. So there are some. I just don't know if everyone is what they need.
Right. Okay. So I will just give my own advice. I'm going to skip the better people part because I don't feel as though I'm going to go with the long-term partner part, because my answer would be specifically for people who have children and specifically for post-pandemic, because I certainly don't claim to be able to be any expert in parenting children during a pandemic, for sure, younger children especially. But I would say when your kids are little, just making sure you spend time with each other so that when your kids are grown and gone, you still enjoy each other's company and want to do things together. Even if it's just sitting outside or listening to music, it doesn't have to be, a week in Paris. I mean, a week in Paris would be great, but
right.
But a summer night outside is nice too.
Yeah, and when Paul's gone on trips, you've traveled with him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've gotten to, and I hope to be able to win everything aside from all this pandemic and travel starts again. Now that our daughter's a little bit older, I hope to be able to. The older she gets, I feel like the easier it is to kind of get that time back with each other.
Yep, for sure. All right, we are on the last question. And it comes from Wes. And Wes asks, if your husband had a different job or a second job, what do you think it would be? I don't have a good answer for this one, so I'm just going to answer this one with, we were driving recently close to home and we saw a billboard. It's for Amazon warehouses. We have a lot of warehouses near where we live. And they were advertising jobs to deliver smiles. And Paul's like, I would like to deliver smiles. But I don't think he would really like to deliver smiles. I don't think he really understands what that job entails exactly. So I think an Amazon delivery person, as much as fun as it might sound to deliver smiles, is probably not the second job for him.
Well, prior to this role, Brad was a consultant in auditing, accounting, and I definitely don't think he would go back to doing that. He is much more of a people person, and I think he would go into marketing if he didn't do this, I think is where he would be. Mm-hmm. Hopefully delivering smiles himself. So.
Right. Just not so directly.
Yeah. Well, those were a lot of really great questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those were fantastic questions.
Hopefully
I feel like I got to know Brad better myself.
Yes, I feel that some of the questions were hard because being so online all the time and so open with the audiences, I don't really know that there's things that I said that that fans or followers might not have already known. So hopefully we did surprise them. But if you learned something about Brad, hopefully they did too.
Right, exactly. All right, well, thank you. This was fun.
Yes, hold on. I have one more job.
Okay.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Security Unlocked. You can find links in the description below or go directly to their site at securityunlockedpodcast.com. And I forgot to do that. Sorry. All right, Stephanie, this has been great. I'm not done yet. I just wanted to say, geez, Brad's over here yelling at me.
I'm not editing that out.
Whoops, wrong screens here. This has been great. It's been nice to see you again. It's kind of exciting that this is the 1,000th episode, that they've been doing this so long. And so I'm glad we could be a part of it.
Yep.
Full disclosure, this was much harder than I thought it was going to be. There are a lot of buttons in here. And I got a 5-minute tutorial before this. And so hopefully I didn't mess up too bad, but
Yep, it was fun, and hope to see you in real life sometime this year, maybe.
yes, I hope that it's somewhere tropical again.
Yeah, me too.
All right, you have a great day.
Thank you. You
Thanks,
too.
everyone.
Bye.